the idea of hamon goyim, that when the Eibishter make Avram av hamon goyim, it was only after the bris, because the bris milah caused a separation of the arla. That caused, because the arla was separated, so therefore there was the disconnect from the goyim, from the klippos. Therefore, Avram Avinu was able to be completely exalted in a way of Av HaMoin Goyim, and also this is also the reason why we say Av HaMoin Goyim is also another pirush, that he's an Av Legedim. Gedus was only possible after the Bris Milah. There was this distinction. By Yishmael, we don't see so many Gedim come out of Yishmael, because Yishmael was born before the Bris Milah, where there was not this type of separation. Whereas from Esav, there are many Gedim, because over there it was already after the Bris Milah, so therefore the nations of the world were already separated, and Avram Avinu was so much higher, like we said before. So now the Rebbe is going to pose a very interesting question and conclusion. Line 25, third page of the Maamar. According to what we explained up till now, but Av HaMoin Goyim, that took place only after the Bris Milah, Yesh Levayit Inin Temua, we could explain something that's a wonder. It's known the rule, every descent is for the sake of an ascent. According to this, we need to understand. Since through the fact that you chose us from all the nations, and you raised us up from all the different languages, so the Rebbe uses like very as much positive language as he could use, and he says that it became the opposite of choosing the nations, and it became the opposite of the nations being exalted by us being raised up. So then they were like there was like a descent. That's an idea of descent. If so, what is the ascent that happens through it? We know that this is the rule. Every descent is for the sake of an ascent. Since the Goyim were in a state of descent because of it, what is their ascent? According to what we explained in our Maamar, we could explain this as follows. Before the giving of the Torah, before there was the free choice, or before Hashem chose the Yidden, though also then there was the coming down of Chesed into the nations of the world. Though we said there was a distinction between the Chesed before the Bris Milah of Avram, and because Avram was the embodiment of the Chesed of above, and therefore beforehand, since the Arla was still connected to the level of Yesod, so the Chesed went even to things that had to do with the Arla. But once the Arla was separated after the Bris, so there wasn't like the length, the long life like Mr. Shelach had and things like that. Still in all, up till Matan Torah, Chesed came down also on the nations of the world. Where do we see this? Like it's explained in a different place, top of page Ches. Maamar in the Chazal, in the statement of Chazal, that says the Chav Vav Doiris, 26 generations, Hayu Nizoinim Bechazdei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was satiated, was supplied, was sustained by the kindness of Hashem. I believe that's still connected to the fact that it says 26 times in what's called Hal Gadol. It says 26 times Kila Olam Chazdoi. The 26 times Kila Olam Chazdoi, which could mean forever, or could also mean for the world is his kindness. So the kindness of his world went 26 times, meaning 26 generations. What level is called Chazdoi? You could have said Kila Olam Chesed. What's the emphasis? Chazdoi. So as we know, whenever it emphasizes and says Shimcha or Shemoi, not just Shem, that means a very high level. The same thing, chesed versus chazdoi. Chesed can mean chesed atzilus. Chazdoi, his chesed, means a very high level. The chazdoi koyal zayin midas da'atik. His chesed is referring to the 7 attributes, the way they are in atik yoimin, a very high level in chesed. Oyal kapon da'arich, or at least if it's not the midas the way they are in atik, they are at least the way in the arich. So you had this very high level of chesed that the nations had up till the giving of the Torah. Because of that, because of this influx of kindness, of chesed of the Eibishter, that they also could partake of it up till the giving of the Torah, they would not have the elevation that comes about through converting and becoming a Yid. Since they weren't in a state of descent, because they had this great flow of chesed of Hashem, all the way from Atik or Arich, so the resulting ascent that results from the descent did not occur by them. But through the descent that took place in the nations, through the choice that Hashem chose the Yid over them, so then they could be and have available to them the idea of converting to Yiddishkeit. That is the ultimate ascent, higher even than what they received from the chesed of Hashem before Matan Torah. And we find amongst the Gedim very high levels. Until the level of Gedim, of Rab Meir and Rab Akiva's stature, that they were, either they themselves were Gedim or offspring, descendants of Gedim. The Mavur became a Drushim. It's explained in many Maamar and Miles Rab Meir, Rab Akiva, Shoyu Gedim, concerning the quality and advantage of Rab Akiva and Rab Meir, that they were Gedim. Dafgal Yodam Nifal Ilui Meyuchad B'Torah. Because they were Gedim, they had this Maila of Yerida L'Tzorech Aliyah that a Yid from birth doesn't have, and therefore, and specifically through them, there was a unique ascent, a special elevation that was caused in Torah. Like it's explained concerning Rabbi Akiva, the Kulu Aliba de Rabbi Akiva, all of them follow according to Rabbi Akiva. There were 5 different Tanoim that remained after the 24,000 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva passed away, and they established the entire Torah Shebal Peh. Some were responsible for Mishnayos, one was responsible for Tosefta, another was Sifri, etc. There were 5 different sections of Torah Shebal Peh that were, each one of these 5 Talmidim that remained were the ones that ensured the continuation of Torah Shebal Peh. And all these 5 followed the Rebbe, Rabbi Akiva. So it comes out that the entire Torah Shebal Peh is really thanks to and following in Rabbi Akiva's footsteps. That is the great advantage and quality of Rabbi Akiva. So too concerning Rabbi Meir, Razal the Chazal said, that he would illuminate the light, the eyes of the Chachamim in halacha. But it was so powerful, such an awesome light, it says that the Chachamim could not really get his take on it. They couldn't really understand how what he was saying was so right. The Matam Rabbi Yehuda, Allah Rabbi Yehuda, for this reason. When there's a dispute between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. Even though Rabbi Meir was Meir in Chachamim, but he was too brilliant for them to be able to perceive it, and the halacha always has to go by according to our perception. But the main point is that Rabbi Meir was a very high level. Ubirishal Isa Rabbi Kiva Hoishivas Rab Meir Lifnei Rashbi. In levels of students, those that were closer to the Rav, they were of a higher caliber. Those that were further, they were of a lesser caliber. They had to work their way up to the closer area. So Rabbi Kiva, who was Rabbi Meir's Rebbe and the Rashbi's Rebbe, he sat Rabbi Meir in front of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Though he said to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, it's sufficient that I and your Creator recognize your power. So in other words, Rabbi Kiva did not dismiss Rashbi's power. Rabbi Kiva appreciated in a way that no one else appreciated who the Rashbi was. And despite that, he placed Rabbi Meir in front of him. So we see how powerful Rabbi Meir was, and also how powerful Rabbi Kiva was. They were children of Gedim. And that idea of Gedus, with all the power that came about from it, was only possible through the Yerida of Ata v'Chatan Mekol Amim, through the Bechira and the Yidden, that therefore made that all the nations were not in the way of Aliyah, and that descent caused the Aliyah of the Gedus. So the Rebbe concludes line 20, you, my covenant is with you, and you will be a father of a multitude of nations. Through the removal and separating of the Arla from the Bris. Avram Avinu became a father of a multitude of nations, a father and an officer in charge of them. Until this was even revealed, that was seen how Avram Avinu was considered more important than all the nations. Maamar, like it was said, that when Avram Avinu went in Parshas Chayesara to go look to buy the Ma'aras Machpelah from Ephraim, so they told him, you are a leader of God amongst us, so therefore go ahead and choose whichever lot you want, and so on. Avram Avinu is called the head of those that became circumcised. As we know, the head includes everything that follows, all the rest of the body that follows. When we say Avram Avinu was the head of those that were circumcised, so he also includes and empowers and directs, like the head includes and empowers the rest of the body and directs the rest of the body. Therefore, afterwards, from Avram Avinu came down this great power of being greater and higher than everything around him. Came down in every single Yid. Before Avram Avinu, there were different people that were born with a bris. It says Adam Rishon was born with a bris. Noach was born with a bris. I'm trying to remember, maybe even Mr. Shelach says was born already with a bris. But still in all, Avaloi Hoya Inyan Hamilad Avram, the idea of the action and the effect of the bris and the separation of the Arla in a conscious effort until Avram Avinu was. This is something that we inherit from our forefathers, from Avram. This will come revealed when Mashiach comes, this separation of the Klippa and this height of the Yidden. All matters will be in their truth in a revealed way. Like it says, that the glory of Hashem will become revealed, and all flesh will see together. Then the Yidden will be in a way that they will be over everything, and the father of a multitude of nations. Like it says, that Hashem will have the kingship. Al Yidei Shalifneze, top of the last page, through the fact that before that will become fulfilled, what it says in the pasuk, that it will transform to the nations a clear language, Likri Kulam B'Shem Hashem, that they should all call out in the name of Hashem to serve Him together as one. Then will be fulfilled, that it will be set up and ready, the mountain of the house of Hashem at the top of the mountains, and all the nations will flow to him. So too in the entire Yisrael, that constantly the eyes of Hashem here, God is in it from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. And then this will be revealed through the fact that initially all Yidden will come to Eretz Yisrael, with our youth and our elderly and our sons and our daughters. Then the many nations will go. And they will say, let us go and rise up to the mountain of Hashem, in the true and complete redemption through Mashiach Tzidkenu, Maamar, speedily in our days, Mamash.